Hello fellow dragons, it's Shane from Astral Dragon Gaming and it's review time. And since I finally got myself a PS4, one of the games I got with the PS4 was Spider-Man. And my god, I have so wanted to play this for so long, and at the same time I just haven't ponied up for the PS4. But now I've ponied up for the PS4, I get to play it in all its raunchy glory. And it is a truly spectacular game. I know a lot of people have reviewed this game, but my god, the amount of years that we have suffered through lots of superhero games, with only Batman really being the one that's sort of stand out. But now you come along with something like Spider-Man, and it is extraordinary. I think it's clear to say that Insomniac Games are really a masters of making a game. I remember when I first played Ratchet and Clank, and it was an extraordinary game, and they do not show any difference in the Spider-Man sort of make that they got. They got the license for it, they got all the work for it, and you have no idea how truly great it is until you start playing it. The ability to fly around an area with your webs, to crawl up walls, to so many things in this game that just... it makes the jaw drop and make you wonder at the mind that went behind creating this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start right at the very beginning and let's go through the entire list. And my list usually always starts with graphics. Pretty is not the right word for this game. Jaw-dropping is a closer word for this game. It is unbelievably beautiful, from the actual flex and movement of Spider-Man, his suit, how it works, and everything about it. The giant cityscape, the movement through the air, the movement of the cars, the jumping from one location to another, the seamless movement from animation of a full motion cutscene right down to suddenly being in the moment and doing something else on top of that. There are no transitions. It's a big package that you cannot just while down to simple things. We'll go to the character designs first. The character designs are really good. The texture work on them is great. Just the general movement, and you would think Spider-Man would be the most detailed thing, but no, the armoured guys that come later on in the game are just as detailed as Spider-Man is, and everything is just... there is a panache to this that just speaks volumes of the amount of time and energy that went into the creation of this one game. Superhero games have always had a kind of stigma to them. The only ones that never got the same level of stigma was always the Batman Arkham games. And that's because Batman Arkham went and followed through with its suits. Like Rocksteady did the job that everyone expects Rocksteady to do. Make a fantastic beat 'em up game, but it added so many more Batman ideas, and this game is exactly the same. They've gone into the lore of the Spider-Man universe and actually pulled things from it. Villains, basic storylines, the basic sort of premise, like the relationship between Peter and MJ, his aunt, and all the other characters. And then you have the suits and everything else. And it's illustrated here so well. Your techniques and your gadgets that you use come off flawlessly. Like, I think the first time that it really hit me how really great this game was the ability to swing from one building to another to get even higher and just swing on the up arc, drop your web and move on to the next web and have that arc and move up into higher levels, and then jump right off a 500-600 meter building and literally plummet all the way down to the ground and land without damaging yourself. It was extraordinary and exhilarating, and this game is nothing short of a full-on nerd rush of enjoyment. And anyone that has not played a Spider-Man game, this is the only Spider-Man game that you should be playing. And anyone that has played a Spider-Man game that has been turned off, like some people have been turned off from different versions of the movie, this is the quintessential Spider-Man game that has ever been made. the web swinging, the fighting scenes, the amount of choices of both stealth and in your face, let's have hammer and tongs at someone. All of it is fantastic in the animation and the graphics. I'll talk a bit about the cityscape itself. Now, it covers the main island of Manhattan, which has the Twin Tower designs, the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building, Oscorp, Avenger Tower, and all sorts of other things like that. And it is a really extraordinary thing, because I remember back in the day, you play a game like Fable, you play a game, any of the open world games, and you would get to a section and it would have to load. And now with something like this, where you're playing it and there is no load time, there's no jump or movement as you're playing in real time against the game, and you're in that sequence, it's so phenomenal to even strike in your mind to see these streets of Manhattan that look so real, so lush, so grimy, so crime-ridden, so New Yorkian in its design. I've never been to New York, but after playing this game, I now sort of appreciate the sort of scope and design that this game has been in it, and I just want to be there and just experience that entire thing. Have a listen to sound, music, and all the other bits and pieces, and I'll get back to you and we'll discuss that.
Peter! Peter, wake up! Come on, say something, please!
Mom! This is crazy. Need to get around somehow.
Lots of casualties here. Call it join.
We've lost contact.
Whoa!
We'll keep you updated.
Oh, man!
One thing you gotta hand off to Disney and Marvel is that when it comes to cinematic music and epic hero music and stuff, they know how to do it. And with the full title and full licensing from Disney and everything, look, it's an amazing thing to play a game and feel like you're in a movie itself. And Insomniac games have just really hit the nail. They bring the music in when it needs to be brought in. They take the music away. They give you that nice quiet scene of all the music gone and everything, and you just hear the background noise. It is, man, it's just fantastic. I just can't stop standing there at points in the game and just, you know, looking at how the world moves around you and everything. It's just so great with the music and everything, and it's a moment. It's just something that really screams to me and just pulls me back in for another 3 or 4 hours of playing this one game. It's like, wow. The sound wise, I love a lot of the sound. I think the first thing that I have to talk about is the actual cityscape sound. That is what really hits home with this. And I go back to other games that Insomniac have made, and they have always hit home with that sense of realism even when you're in a fantasy world, even when you're in a real world with their games, there's always this sense of being really there. There's the sounds of honking horns, the sound of cars moving, there's sounds of birds, the sound of wind, sound of the sea, sound of other people walking around and other people talking as a background sort of filter. It's all there, and that kind of depth of detail for ambient noise is really something to be said about something like that. And it's always an interesting thing. Even when you're in buildings and whatnot, when there's no actions actually happening and you're just sort of doing a stealthing movement, you can hear the general sort of creak and groan and the general white noise that you hear when you're inside a building. And that attention to detail really gives the entire scenes, wherever you are, a real sense of being and a real sense of depth. As for the sounds themselves, oh Christ. Slinging a web, shooting a web, getting shot at, jumping over bombs, throwing a bomb, getting hit by a manhole cover, getting hit by barrels and everything like that. It's all there. It's fantastic. I love it. It's fantastic. It's just one of those things where I have not experienced enough of in some games, and in other games it touches on and it just doesn't go the extra mile. This one, it goes a whole extra mile. And the minute you hear the sort of flare from a rocket launcher, you go, oh shit, I need to move now. Really quick, really fast, and it's just so good. I love that thing. Voice work is another extraordinary thing, and again, they've had their hands on people. They're the key sort of factors. But hats off to the guy that keeps on doing Jonah Jameson. I love his voice. I love the outrage at the news or podcasts that he keeps on running all the while you're swinging around the city and doing other things. It's just it's a laugh fest galore, and I love the entire time I've played it. And I think I could just play the entire game with just listening to him and not even hearing that. But then you've got the wisecracks from Spider-Man, you've got the different voice actors for different criminals and whatnot, and then you have the background chatter of the police as they're calling you to different crimes and stuff. It's really good stuff, and I love the sound. The sound is fantastic, the voice is fantastic, the music is great, and it's fucking awesome. That's all there is to it. If you just can't get around that. It's beaut, mate. You'd be right. It's fucking fantastic. That sort of thing. Full Australian approval there. I can guarantee you that. So, a bit about the game and basically what you're doing. You play as Spider-Man, or Parker. But Peter Parker is just a guy that got hit by a genetically altered spider, became part man, part spider, with all the good looks, but none of the means of legs. And you are on a battle. You start off basically taking down Fisk, and then once you take the power cell out of the entire city, everyone and every man and a dog wants to have a piece of the action. And that's what starts off the entire sort of adventure. There are lots of different criminals in this that you'll face, and you'll learn how to tackle them and attack them as you go through. Your basic idea is that you do as the Spider-Man does. You float around, you hack into signals, you get intel from the cops, and you investigate things that are unusual or strange. And then you go and try and solve crimes, or you beat up thugs to stop them from murdering, robbing, kidnapping, full-on gunfight in the street, car crashes, transporting illegal goods. So many different little tiny missions that are just there. Then there's research missions, and then there's a mission where you fly around to get a guy's pigeons and stuff. It's just so much in here, and it's such a game. And then there are chapters that you can buy as DLCs, which add to the game again, so more hours of playing. I think I'm about 20 hours in, and I'm not even close to it. It says 40% completion on the whole thing, and I just managed to get all the backpacks in the game. And collectathons, that's another thing about this game. So many collectathons, but it's not a grind collectathon. There seems to be a feel to it. And when you do collect sort of all the bits and pieces for one thing or another, you get rewarded with a different suit outlay. You get rewarded with different tech outlay. You get rewarded with experience points, with experience XP, and so on and so forth. And it's just so many things in this game that it's fantastic. And I say that word a lot, and you cannot find another word that can describe this game. For an action role-playing, for an action game out in the middle of nowhere where you get to fly around Manhattan as a guy in a huge Lycra suit and shooting webs everywhere, this is the best game ever. And I cannot stress how much. You find it on sale, get it. If you have the cash playing around, get it. If you have to sell your own natural born child, no, I'm not saying that, that's just a joke, I'm having a joke right now, then you need to get this game somehow or some way. But other than that, thank you so much, very much, for watching this video. And I'm doing PS4 reviews now, so thank you very much for that. And I have to thank, just this opportunity to try and make myself something out of this idea of, YouTube. And I wish to make something out of myself. So, if you've really enjoyed this video, or you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe and come back and see some more videos. Hit the like button or down button, whichever works for you. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.
Dad, no! Wake up, Dad. Wake up.